230-0980. Sabah, go ahead. Happy holidays to you, because I have not heard from you in a while. Go ahead. What do you think they'll do? What do you want them to do?
Yes. Well, Merry Christmas, Kevin. I did miss you. I did hear the podcast yesterday, and Tom was right on that Ron is just stabbing Taylor in the back. To me, Ron is treating Taylor Heinicke like that can of soda that you just discard after gulping it when dying of thirst. That's all he does to him. And I'm sick of it. Of course he's going to go with Wentz because look at the spread. The spread is dropping. That's because Vegas knows he's going. What is it? 2.5 now? It's
Sorry, but the opposite happened. It was 1.5 on Saturday afternoon, and then when Carson came in late in the game, it went to 2.5. And then when Ron didn't make the announcement yesterday, it dropped back to 1.5 or 2. So you actually have that backwards. Okay. But go ahead.
Well,
why do you think really? Why do you agree with Tom that he's really doing? Really stabbing Taylor in the back with this decision. Why? Why is that? After all of the opportunity he's given him.
Okay, because he's first of all 5-3-1, and the 3 he wasn't allowed to finish the third one. Right? If he kept him in this game, we should have been up 14-0. Jahan Dawson dropped, and then the awesome throw to Jahan where we got first and goal. 4 straight runs. None of those are Taylor's fault. Should have been up 14-0 and should have been up 21-7 at the half. That's a whole different complex of the game with Purdy playing from behind, who he's never had to do that yet. You put Taylor on the San Francisco team, they do win the Super Bowl. Okay? And the thing about that third loss that he had, he didn't give Taylor a chance to go in there. It would have came down to the last possession, and Ron knows it. Ron didn't want to see it anymore because then it'd be so obvious that you can't pull him. There's no way he should have been pulled.
Hold on, I want to make sure. I want to make sure I'm clear on this. So after the second turnover and the field goal that made it 30-14, you think Ron pulled him because he knew Taylor would bring him back and win the game, and he didn't want to have to deal with that situation. I want to make sure I'm clear on this. Is that what that's your position?
No, he would have brought him back to the last play of the game. It would have come down to the last play, just like Giants. He won the Giant game. The 2-point conversion was taken away by Jahan Dawson, and Terry McLaurin took away the other. That's 9 points. We would have won that game 21-20 with the way Taylor played. No one wants to talk about that because no one wants to
Did you see the ball that he threw to number 44 before the controversial pass interference that wasn't called? Did you, or do you just completely eliminate the balls that he throws to the other team that the other team drops completely from your memory?
Okay. Well, Carson threw an interception before his touchdown pass this past game. Every quarterback does it. You guys always point out the negative. You say the defense played well except for 4 explosive plays. That's not playing well, Kevin. Okay? And when you talk about Taylor kept giving them short fields,
I didn't say the defense played well other than 4 explosive plays. I said the 4 explosive plays is what the problem with the game was Sunday, along with special teams. They did an outstanding job in the red zone after Taylor couldn't make 4th and a foot and he turned the ball over twice.
Okay, so 4th and a foot is on Taylor. You don't get a single push. And if Ron absolutely knew he got it, throw the flag. Ron didn't want that.
We can't throw the flag if you don't have video evidence. You don't want to burn a challenge and burn a timeout if you don't have the video evidence. I want to hold on. I want to go back. I want to go back to something. He pulled, your position is, he pulled Taylor Heinicke at the end of the game after 2 straight possessions, 2 turnovers, down 16 with, 8 minutes to go in the game, because he was afraid that Taylor was going to get him right on the cusp of winning that game, and then he wouldn't have been able to go to Carson this week. That's your position.
Because that's what Taylor does best. And that's what Taylor does best. And just so you know, Jay Gruden said in the interview with Chris Russell and Pete that interception was not Taylor's fault. He threw it to the spot where I think it was Robinson, should have been. I forget which running back it was.
I thought it was Gibson.
That was not his fault. It doesn't matter. That's a miscommunication. It was not a horrible throw, as you call it. Okay, now he does need to stop fumbling when he gets completely annihilated by these defensive ends. He's got to stop fumbling. I'll give you that. But my God, that pass was not a horrible throw. That was a miscommunication between him and the running back. So I don't understand why Ron is, again, He just anoints people. He brought Carson. Carson didn't grow since getting kicked out of Philly or Indianapolis. His arm didn't get any stronger since kicked out of Philly and kicked out of Indianapolis. He is anointing this guy his quarterback because Ron is a buffoon and not to be trusted. And I think that his team is going to see this as a negative for Ron, not a positive. You don't go away from somebody who's earned it and a family member. Taylor is a family member. He's a Redskin. Carson just showed up.
Actually, he's never. Actually, I don't think he's ever been a Redskin. I think he's been a Washington football team player and a Commander. But I want to go back. I want to go back because this is fascinating to me. I want to go back to how they are treating him so unfairly in this particular spot. What did he do really over the 9-game stretch that earned him the right to start these final 2 games and to not be treated so poorly by the coach and benched, if that's what happens?
Okay, big time throws against Green Bay. He brought the Indianapolis Colts game. He bailed Scott Turner out. That was a horrible game plan, and he had those last 2 drives, giving his wide receiver a chance to make plays. Then in the Giant game, he basically up 10-0, and Scott Turner puts the playbook in his back pocket. I don't know what is wrong with Scott Turner. Now we're down, and Taylor Heinicke, through the grace of God, his ability brings us back to a tie, which may be the reason we get into the playoffs in the first place. And then the second Giant game, he scored enough for 21 points, but yet 2 huge penalties negated him. And all Ron has to say is, well, Taylor needs to play better. He's got to stop having mistakes. Or when he was winning, well, what did Taylor do? He was Taylor. He never can compliment him. He says, why are you keeping him in there? Well, winning. Well, the other guy's 2-4. He will pee all over himself if he has to play Philadelphia again. Where are you going to start, Kevin, if you even make it through the playoffs and you get to Philly? Are you going to still start Wentz?
What do you think if he chooses Taylor or if he doesn't? What was Taylor capable of producing for this team the rest of the way?
Wins. Being in the game, coming to the last play of the game. The only time he didn't come to the last play of the game was Minnesota, when Ridgeway did the stupid penalty. Otherwise, right. Taylor would have brought us back and scored the field goal and went to overtime, if not won the game. And he wasn't allowed. He did do the job against the Giants second game, but the penalties, right, that weren't his fault. And then he didn't get a chance to do it against San Francisco. You give me one game this year
he did have 2 fumbles against New York. Lost one of them. It turned out to be the crucial play in the game.
Right, and on the first game, okay, he got annihilated at the goal line and held on to that ball. Okay? The point is, he would never have been in that position the second Giant game if on the great run, I think it was Robinson or Gibson had, the stupid tackle, whoever it was, held. And now it put him in the second and long. That should have been a 2nd and 1. All these circumstances around him, and all he does is get the blame.
I didn't even think it was a hold on Lucas. I thought that was a bad call.
It wasn't a hold.
I think
but
one
it wasn't his fault.
So I think one of the things that you refuse to hear is compliments towards Taylor Heinicke, and I think it puts you into this, backed into a corner mode like you're, the only defender he has. You're not. There are a lot of people that are just as big fans of Taylor as you are, but you don't hear the compliments from the coaches, from the players, from broadcasters talking about Taylor Heinicke. I spent 30 minutes this morning, on and off, saying that I thought Saturday was the best game he's played, actually. Now, I totally disagree with you on 2 things. Number one, I don't think that they would have been on the cusp of winning the game had he not been pulled on Saturday. He had not been down 16 at any point this year, and I don't think he would have been capable of bringing that team back from 30 to 14. In fact, the touchdown drive that followed was a 3-minute drive, 82 yards, and they did score a touchdown. They didn't get the 2-point conversion, but Carson Wentz did a really good job on that drive. I don't think think I don't even think you really believe that the reason Ron pulled him is because he was afraid Taylor was going to get him within striking distance of winning the game. The other thing too is I don't really understand this idea that they are really doing something that's really unfair to him. He got 15 and a half opportunities last year. He got 9 this year. The guy was on his sister's couch studying for math derivatives final exams, and Scott Turner gave him a chance, and this organization's given him chance after chance, and they like him. And I think they'll probably try to sign him so that they can have him in this organization. He's got a career earning a lot of money as a backup quarterback in the NFL because of the opportunities that Ron Rivera and Scott Turner in particular gave him. What's so unfair about this relationship?
Okay, so let me see. So LeBron James came from a single-family home in the projects or whatever, very poor upbringing, if I'm not mistaken. So LeBron, you should just be happy. We're going to give you $10,000 a year because you came from nothing.
What are you talking about?
You
the guy was a backup in the XFL. He was a backup quarterback. Nobody except for Scott Turner was going to give him a chance. Not only did they sign him and give him a chance, they've given him all of these opportunities. He is a guy.
How many opportunities has Wentz got? What about him?
For Washington, fewer than Taylor.
From all these other teams.
In Washington, fewer than Taylor. 6. Compared to 24 and a half for Taylor. 25 and a half, actually, if you count the playoff game. All right, we got to move on. We got to move on. Thank you. Always entertaining. Never in doubt is Sabah. Paul Lapp Lewis.